So it was a mix of people, but in between them there were some Caucasian college students that were there, constantly mocking my son, making fun of how he walked, how he laughing, how this and that, to make him to feel to fall into depression. If
Wow.
and he don't live with me here in Hawaii, he live in Texas. So when I have one day that I didn't hear him calling me or something, I'm looking for him to see what's going on. My son was deep in depression because of the colorings and the pressure of the racism that was inside of the place that he thought he was safe. So we're talking now about religion, and it's only in education field, but it's also religion, and it go on and on and on. So if we don't have the foundation of who he is, even though they impacted him hard with all of the things that they did to him, I still telling him how valuable he is, and they don't pay attention to that people.
Welcome to the Immigrant Experience in America, an immigrant human library, where we amplify and humanize the experiences of immigrants in the United States and around the world. Listen in as we add another story to our immigrant human library.
If I would have the self-control of my ideas and characters, even though when I got here, I was already 28 years old.
Yes.
How would you change my mind? It's not the same thing that my kids got here. The older was 6 and the younger was 2 years old by that time. But it's still today that they are 30 years old and 27 years old that I still telling them, you're Black. And you need to study and you need to stand up for your rights. And you don't let nobody telling you that because you're Black, you cannot be this or you cannot get a higher ranking. Because one is in the Air Force and the other one is in college. My son at 27 years old, they have a physical disability and was, I will say, bullying by people from his own church. Okay? By not the college was okay, but the people, he went there to make God, and they come to him with racism and discrimination because
Oh
of
my
him
gosh.
being Hispanic.
Yes.
And I can understand that. So what my son fate was trying to twist and say, well, I'm in the house of God and I'm getting this treatment. I mean, what is this? I say, no, that's no God.
Mm.
That's no God. That's not
Don't
what
get
God is
us.
telling us to do.
I'll be
Don't
doing
get
an
there.
episode. I'll be doing an
I'm
episode
so
on religion in
Simon.
America, religion in
Uh,
America, and the madness,
Sim,
right?
yeah, Simon. I'm gonna tell you this. I am glad that I went through all the things that I have been through in my life. Racism, discrimination, be rejected, everything. Because today, when I got 5 children, Simon, and no one of them will grow with the mindset that I was having before. I would not accept that to happen to my children. So when he get discriminated in his church because of his physical disability and because of all of the futures that go with that, because he got cerebral palsy, but his body's affected, not his face, not his mind, nothing. Because sometimes people thinking that because somebody who has cerebral palsy is incapable of anything. They got that wrong. And that's what I say it's so important that it's about study and get upgraded in science and education and everything. Because sometimes even educators make the mistake of discriminating students just because the way they look like. You think they are incapable to perform something in class or who knows what. Sometimes we as an adult have the problem, not the kid. Not the kid. But you imagine that he going to the to hear the word of God, but in the people in the congregation of that church, even though it was a Black church, a black people church, there were some. It was. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase this. The pastor was Black, his wife was Black, and his family was Black. But it's a non
Denominational, non-denominational.
denomination, exactly. So accepting everybody, right? So it was a mix of people, but in between them there were some Caucasian college students that were there, constantly mocking my son, making fun of how he walked, how he laughing, how this and that, to make him to feel to fall into depression. If
Wow.
and he don't live with me here in Hawaii, he live in Texas. So when I have one day that I didn't hear him calling me or something, I'm looking for him to see what's going on. My son was deep in depression because of the colorings and the pressure of the racism that was inside of the place that he thought he was safe. So we're talking now about religion, and it's only in education field, but it's also religion, and it go on and on and on. So if we don't have the foundation of who he is, even though they impacted him hard with all of the things that they did to him, I still telling him how valuable he is, and they don't pay attention to that people. That for me was people who don't have probably their parents educated on the way that you cannot discriminate somebody because either their disability or the color of the skin. So now he's studying about microaggressions because I threw a one of my cafecitos because my son is the one that edit all of my shows, and he heard the cafecito about microaggressions, and that helped him to learn more of what I even explained him. He kind of now just passed. It was like a year or two ago that this incident happens and all that, and his faith never was changed because of that. And then his value as a person as well has been more stronger now because now he knows how did they come and attack you, how did they come and talk to you to try to either change your mind or to play with your mind. So
Wow.
continue to tell your kids about this. Don't even accept that they, because it goes so far away. I mean, when my older son that is 30, when he was in high school, he got a history teacher that was telling him that we came out of the monkeys. I
Wow.
went crazy. I went crazy when I heard my son say that. We're nothing. We just came out of the monkey. I'm talking about years ago when he was in high school. And I'm like, no, this needs to change. So these are the type of things that you can hear me going passionate about it, because it's like it affects me. It was my whole life like that. It was a change in my life. Thank God that I had the opportunity to travel and also to get married with an African American that he grew up knowing that he was black, not like me that I grew up thinking that I was not black. And it sounds funny because that's why my student like, how do you think you wasn't black if you don't have a mirror in Panama? I said, yeah, I have a mirror, but I thought I was morena. I never thought that I have to accept that I'm totally black, because for me, black was something wrong.
Right.
I
Because
have
I
to
guess
learn. I have to rebuild myself.
right, because one side of your family is comes from both groups, you see. So
Yes.
you're a mix, you're mestizo, you're a mix of both. And so there is language that means different things. It's just when you're here in America, one drop means that you're African diaspora. And so it also means, so now do you just not, if you do your DNA, you're going to see heritage from both
Mm-hmm.
sides of the world. So do you just
Yeah.
only claim the African part and not the other part? Because I do my DNA and I do my dad's and I do my mom, and I see both sides from Europe and I see from the African continent. So does that mean I disown my father's side of family and only own my mom's side of family? That's just mad. So I mean, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
even make sense, some of the language that people put um to this, the language that people use to describe their experiences. Some of it doesn't quite make sense because it's not universal. In different environments, there's different experiences that are taking place, and so people use different language to describe things. You see, it's not
Mm-hmm.
wrong, your experience of thinking that you were brown, you're a mestizo, right? And so
Yes.
I just don't understand. And so, but you also have to be careful when you're doing these tests, because sometimes they're not fully accurate. So you have to make sure, depending on where you're going to get these, you have to wonder who's behind these
Mm-hmm.
organizations and making sure that you're getting a cross section of research to make sure you're getting good information about where your roots
Yeah.
are as well. And so my life journey has taken me from a place where race was never anything that existed in my mind, I was just a child, just learning, and I interacted with everybody and never thought there was a dark-skinned person in my school that was less than me just because they were dark. That was never communicated in my school anywhere. I mean, everybody got the same education. Does colorism exist? Yes, right. The guys would want to go towards the lighter skinned girls because, oh, they thought they were more beautiful or whatever. So, but for me, in my head, that was just, okay, this person just likes that person. I didn't think it was because of race, but I was forced to learn about racism when I arrived here in the United States. And it's been a harrowing experience for me, very sad at times. And so now that it's in psyche, and I know it must be the experience or probably partly experience of a lot of immigrants who wasn't raised in with this whole issue of racism or what race is, right? We were raised in environments that was more nationalistic. It's about the country. You're from this part of the country and you're all this, right? It doesn't matter. We're a mix out of many one people is the mother of Jamaica, out of many one people. And so it can be traumatizing, and it has been for me. And now you have to be careful what you're putting into your mind, because then it becomes that it controls you. It controls what you think about and the way you interact with people, the way you view the world. When you start taking in so much about this negativity that exists in this whole idea of racism and white supremacy, it starts impacting you, and you have to be careful about how much of that you are ingesting in your system. And so for me, I wonder, why do we amplify? I understand because people are still being harmed by it, and so the conversation needs to happen. Policies needs to change, systems need to change. I get that, but there is just so much. I feel it seems to be everywhere now. It's on social media, the TV, it's in the school. Children are not being taught the truth. And then you don't teach children the truth of the history of the country, but on the other hand, you demonize them and call them names and put them down, and you don't empower them to get out of the situation that they were born in or what they currently find themselves in. So it's just this madness in the psyche that I'm trying to make sense of, that it's crazy to me. But healing needs to take place. And in order for healing to take place, when you have war crimes, they have the Truth and Reconciliation Council, right? In Geneva. When there are war crimes, people come together and they put the truth on the table, and people get convicted, and healing starts to take place. Once that truth is put on the table, this happens, and what if there's an apology that needs to take place, it happens, and then the healing process takes place. But the longer we stay in this place of denying the truth of what actually happens, then how long are we going to take to get to the healing?
Exactly.
All of us are impacted by this.
And that's when I say we need to bring solutions to the table, not just talk about the same thing. We all know the story, and those who don't know, we can teach them and we can share that with them. But what is the solution of this? It's a process. It's the process of reconciliation. It's the process of healing, and it's the process of acceptance, so that we can continue to live in this world.
But there still yet is a struggle to come to the truth and to say this is in fact what happened. And I can understand. The United States is such a powerful country. How are we not teaching the truth in our schools? It doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense. And it's just like, how many teachers will be willing to teach the truth? And are they prohibiting, like really, really prohibiting this to happen? Because they letting happen a lot of things that many of us are now in agree for be teaching to students, or allowing this to happen in school. But why is such a problem to talk about color, to talk about the truth, to talk about how African Americans came to the United States? How African American came to the United, or what the reason why they're here? Because if the country is just for Europeans that came here, and then white people or stuff, then why are we doing over here? How we got here? Anybody who is just any age, like you say your daughter's 4 years old and already start seeing differences, will realize like, whoa, and then if this is your country, then how I ended up here, right? So those are the questions that by kindergarten they start having. We need to get a little bit and a little bit until they go all the way to high school and apply this to every like history, social studies, science, languages, that they hear this constantly. Because remember, at home, they're receiving another information. But then when they get to school, they're receiving another one. Then they're going to have to put this together. And then the more they get the information and proof and the real life resources, not just video games, not just whatever the social media is putting out there. That's what I tell my students. A lot of things that you see in the social media are not true. And no, I'm not talking about the color or stuff. Or a lot of things that they see are not true, but
Yes,
they
the
strongly
information.
believe in what they see.
Yes.
So there is, unfortunately, is a lot of things out of control. I'm just focused in giving to my students the best of my abilities of education that goes with real world scenarios with truths on it. I let my parents, my students' parents know by the first day of school in my syllabus, this is what they're going to study. So they have the opportunity to ask me more about it. Or if they don't agree, well, the student will withdraw the class. But it will be up to me to teach them the way I want it, which is to telling them the truth, to find their identity, to build their culture, and for them to feel welcome in classes when they come in, share their culture with mine and with anyone that we are learning through the semester.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I just don't understand this whole I
Mhm.
suppose somebody who studies anthropology or history can fully explain, like, so it's okay for my child of African descent or from another ethnicity to go to school and learn about Europe and nothing else,
But
but
it's
just
not okay. Yeah, exactly.
history about Europe that you're telling them they're not a part of, right? And
Mhm.
for it to appear that Europe is basically the only country in the world that has value, that brings about innovation, and has documented history. But what about the rest of the world and the rest of other people? I mean, there's so much information that exists. I mean, we're a country that this is where a lot of people come to find healing, people who are fleeing war zones, famine, natural disasters, persecution over in other countries. This is where they come because this is where Lady Liberty opens her arms and welcomes us. And a lot of people find healing here. This is the country where people, because I feel like if I had remained in Jamaica, I probably would have been still existing in a certain type of bubble. But my eyes
Mhm.
and perspective has broadened since I've been here. So that has been the blessing. But on the sad part
Mhm.
of it, I get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so we
Yeah,
have
but
a
a lot of people come here with the American dream and realize that here the American dream is like a myth. They have to work. They are nobody here. So they have to put 10 times more than what they would do in their own country. Talk to a Hispanic person they have come here as an immigrant. No, no, just like me. I think a little bit we're like more easier because my husband was in the military. But someone who came even illegally or even legally with some resources, but very measured resources, and trying to survive here with their color, their skin color, or with because they just Hispanic. Period. It was not being easy for no one. So why? Because there's already a set of mind here in the country that we need to work on it. And what is I mean, everybody talk about the American dream, but what is the American dream? A lot of people come here and crash because they thought that it was easy, and it's not. You starting by having problems first if you're illegal. Now, if you came here legally, then you start having problems because you don't have education, or how you will get the education you need to can get to some such a level that where you can have better job opportunities, right? So then they start working in jobs that are very low payment because, again, many other reasons. What you call racial status, um, immigrant status, etc., etc., etc. No, everyone have the same opportunity. But I have talked to people who are immigrants, and they say sometimes I didn't know if I would be doing back. It would do better if I would just go back home
And that,
because I thought that I was under oppression or something out there. But here is worse than that.
there you go. Thank you for underlining that, because that's why this podcast exists, is to bring reality to the immigrant experience here in America, because a lot of people are living in what they see in Hollywood or on TV, on the music
Mm-hmm.
videos. And listen,
Yes.
come here, you be prepared to work. There was a video on social media where this lady said that you will work till you die. And for some people, it's the
Yes.
truth, because they're doing 2, 3 jobs, 8 hour,
Yes.
8 hour, and they still can't make ends meet. And everything we eat or bring into our house, we have to pay for it. So make sure you do your resource and think about and particularly for people of the African diaspora, there is something
Mm-hmm.
that they call weathering, because of you having to deal with the social pressures of all this negativity that's coming at you. When you were probably in your home country, you might be able to exist without having to deal with this added social pressure, but it is no joke. Okay, and you better
Yeah.
be prepared. You will go through depression, you will go through anxiety, all sorts of cognitive issues, because now you have to grapple with this constant barrage of negativity that you are, about what Black means, what being African means, about what it, a person of color, what that all means. And you can't, all these negative messages that are coming at you. And so this is why we're here having this conversation. Please do your research before you take out all this. People take out loans, thousands of dollars, just to get to these
Mm-mm.
shores. And be
Yeah.
sure you know what is ahead of you before you take out those loans or put your life at risk just to get here. Don't get it wrong. There are opportunities, and there
They
is
are
there's beauty here. But on the opposite side of that, the reality is that a lot of immigrants go through serious challenging times to make life and ends meet here.
important is also, before we close this conversation, is to for them to get to know who they are. Find yourself, heal in yourself, and then come and face what is going to be here, or even if your own country. Find your identity, accept who you are, and get ready for what's coming.
Yes, yes, yes. And I know we've talked a lot about education and the reality of what our children are being taught in school or what they're not being taught, and what needs to happen then for them to have a positive and more empowered experience, for them to become the citizens that we want them to become. I wonder then, and you've alluded a little bit in and out, Rosa, about your
Mhm.
immigrant experience. What have you learned through over the years about through your own immigrant experience, whether it be opportunities, challenges, or mistakes that you made that you might think might be helpful to another immigrant listening to you? Any message that you'd like to share with anybody today?
Well, yes. I mean, I have a little bit of everything. I have to deal with the challenge. I have to look for my opportunities. But I was able to overcome to all that through first make sure that I know who I am, what was my value, where is my value as a woman, as a person, as an immigrant. Find my also my way what I want to study. Go ahead and apply. Get educated. Get more and more education as I can. Certificates, anything that it will help me to edify myself and then fulfill my goals. For the future, what I expect on my own future is that I be able to bring more cultural resources again, help all the educators to find more experiences so that they can transmit and bring or incorporate this more into their classes. But along with everything, if you are thinking about to come to United States, first of all, of course, do it legally. And after that, be ready to work, because we don't come here for vacation. We come here to work. Either you are from here or you coming from outside, you will be here to work. This is not a country that you can just come and have a good time. You're gonna have your good time, but you gotta work. And sometimes people get 2 or 3 jobs, because it depends also of how well educated they are, or until they get the opportunity to find their job that they are looking for. It's not impossible. It's not impossible, but it takes time and dedication and committed to fulfill everything that you have planned. But at the end, the reward is amazing. It can become the true American dream, and it will always continue to be. But everything you do is also for the future of your family, the future generations that we as the teachers are trying to shape and put in on the right path is what we're working with all of you. And that we also need the support from home when we are teaching something um, related to culture, diversity, and all that. That you reinforce this in school. I mean, at home, and that so that we can work simultaneously between community, with parents, with students, with everyone. I really appreciate, Simone, that you have brought this subject of conversation today, because for everyone who's listening out there about culture, about diversity, knowing that if you are not Hispanic, we are Latin America is huge. It's not just one country, it's many of them. We are shaping different colors and forms, and we are willing to or excited to share the every piece of the cultures that we can share with the rest of the world. My experience in the United States has been amazing. Focus on the positiveness. Yes, has been amazing. That it was a hard work. Yes, it was. That it was time where it was feeling myself discriminated. Yes, it was. But because I found who I am, my values, and I strongly believe that being a woman of color doesn't mean that I'm less than anyone. That what it helps me to build my character and to put my foundation in myself and my family to can move forward in my life. That's what I have for sharing with you guys today. And thank you so much for hearing this podcast with Simone. It's been amazing. Thank you very much for inviting me. I am very happy to have this conversation with you all today.
Very good, very good. So how do people connect with you, Rosa, with your PLC group on Facebook and otherwise any other services that you provide that someone, maybe a teacher or someone else in the educational space might listen, hear this, and might want to connect with you to collaborate? How do they get in touch with you and connect with you with the PLC?
Sure. I am in Facebook. It's called PLC Culture and Diversity. It's a group. It's a Facebook group for teachers and anyone who would like to learn more about culture. It's a private group, so you have to go to Facebook and type PLC Culture and Diversity, answer 3 questions, and then I get to accept the people in the group. Then I also have a YouTube channel. It's called, again, PLC Culture and Diversity TV. Please, when you get to the channel, click like and subscribe. That help us to bring more resources, to have more interviews, and also get to more places that people maybe don't even have an idea and learn about their culture. And I have my website. It's called cafecitocultural.com. And in there, you can see also my curriculum, my different symposiums and strategies and stuff that I have worked with other educators. Inside of the cafecitocultural.com, you're going to find the Cultural Awareness Foundations for Educators, who was recently created to support, again, educators and students to travel around the world and know from firsthand about culture and diversity. There is also a page in there for you to donate. It will be welcome for all of us to can promote scholarships and promote more the love for learning a language through students as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for sharing that, Rosa.
You're
And
welcome.
I'm so jealous that you're in Hawaii. I really want to move there. Can you tell us a little bit about what life is like in Hawaii for you and your family, and for people of African in the African diaspora? What has been your experience living in Hawaii outside of the mainland USA?
Well, yeah, when we got here, I thought it was only will be for like the mandatory time in the army, the 3 years. Ended up being 7 years now because we retire here. The life in here, imagine to be in vacations all day, every day. It's a vacational island. Um, to work in here, challenge. Yeah, you got to find a job, and they have a lot demand for teachers. But the reality is that teachers here need to work hard because Hawaii it is expensive, and it's not easy to just survive with one income. So sometimes they just get together, different teachers rent an apartment, they work and live like that. But it's not impossible. It's nice. It's summer all year round. Many places to go. I live a walking distance. I think it's like 10 minutes walking distance from the ocean, and it's been a paradise when I'm not working. I have to work every day as well. But after work, I can go get me a coffee and go sit down on the beach for a few minutes and forget about the heavy day or so. But it is beautiful. Hawaii is beautiful. I invite everybody to come over. Let me know when you guys are coming. I take you around the island. I have done that with other teachers as well. Simone, you're welcome to come to Hawaii at any moment. Summertime, of course, preferably, so I got the time to can share with you and dedicate the time and host the area and everything here in Hawaii. It is super beautiful, but you have to work just like in mainland. And here is a little bit expensive, so save some money to come over here. But to live the everyday life in here, islands life is like every day you go to work, get out of work, you can go to the ocean, go back home, or go to your backyard, pick up some lemons from the tree or some mangoes. Everything is just there. Coconut. It's beautiful. I can't complain.
Wow, wow, that's awesome. And how do you find that your children have feared, growing up? Do you feel like there's a socially, like there was much more understanding, respect? There's certain parts of the United States, like, people might say in the South, there's a much more racial issues versus if you were in the Northeast or the Southwest. What is it like in Hawaii for like raising children of African descent?
See, in Hawaii, it's also like in Panama. It's a lot of different races in here, so you don't see too much discriminations. You can hit some of them, but like let's say when I just got here, I thought I was in another country, not in Hawaii, because it's a huge amount of Japanese people in here. Of course, Hawaiian culture and Filipino culture, they are the more stronger cultures in here. Some Polynesians as well. Hispanics and Black African Americans are very minority. That's the real minority here. It kind of like at the same level or so. It's not like a place that you're just going to walk in the corner and see some Mexican restaurant. It's like a luxury here for the Mexican restaurant. So you got opportunities. I just strongly believe that if you don't have the education that because it's very competitive here in Hawaii, you gotta have an education to can be able to compete in the industry here because there's a lot of people well prepared here as well. Um, through my children's, it was a nice place to raise them because it was out of a lot of um, drugs and alcohol use and stuff like that that you see in other countries or even maybe in mainland. Here it is exists, but it's like far away from them, right? And it's more focused on outdoor life with your family that having that some problems that just stay home and don't have resources or access to healthy stuff or healthy activities. My children's three of them was in schools here in Hawaii. They didn't experience any racism like that as the other two when they were in mainland, but they always have it in mind that who they are and be aware that they are a minority and that they need to study and get scholarships and succeed. My daughter graduated from the University of Hawaii, no problem. She's now back in mainland, professional, individual African American woman that is capable to anything she wants based on the foundation that we gave her as a person, as a child. And my last two, my set of twins, they also, well, they're going to graduate next school year from the University of Hawaii, the School of Medicine. So it is how well prepared you are to can be able to succeed here. I think it's in any place as well. But it is a good place to raise children. So I will say, from my experience, it's a good place for you to come for vacation. It could be a good place for you to leave. Again, you need to have the resources to be able to succeed, to not to succeed, but to maintain a lifestyle here. My husband retired military. He's also a teacher, middle school social study teacher, and then myself as a teacher. So because of that background we have been able to stay here for a while and own a house and property. And we used to have a business before the pandemic. So it's how you move, it's how you relate, it's how you deal with the day by day. It is not not easy for a Black person to get some places or some levels here in Hawaii, because like I say, the majority here are Japanese. Okay, so you gotta be on the same level of education to be able to be competing with those that are probably the majority, and the ones that are will say I hire you or not. But not impossible. Not impossible. And besides that, it's a beautiful place. I always invite everybody to come over. I have many people that have asked me, do you think I would be able to live in there? Well, yes, but be ready for maybe 2 jobs if you don't have maybe someone in the military or some retirement already on your pocket, because it is not that easy as look like for vacations.
Mm. Awesome. Well, thanks for giving us a window into life in Hawaii, and we got a window into your life as you grew up as a child in Panama, as Afro-Panamanian as well. This has been quite enlightening, Rosa. Thank you so much for being so authentic with your story.
You're welcome.
I have no doubt that people will find value in listening, and lots of encouragement weaved throughout our conversation today. Friends, as always, please subscribe, comment, and share if you enjoyed this interview. If you're passionate about telling immigrant stories, our team is looking for help. If you're willing to help with podcast production, social media, or Patreon management, please reach out to us. You can also donate on our Patreon if it's easier for you. All the links are in the description below. Thank you. We thank our listeners around the world, and we appreciate your continued support as we build our human library. Please remember to give us a 5-star review, subscribe, and share with your friends, family, and circle of influence.